Matt, you are amazing, and Karen, you are my ultimate ginge. So my question is, one of my favorite characters was the Dream Lord. I thought that episode was just amazing. It's a very interesting character, you know, got the dark side of you. So, will we see him again?
Well, I mean, he's one of my favourite actors, Toby. You know, he's just incredible. I'd love to get him back.
Yeah, he should come back.
Yeah, it would be wonderful if he could. With a bigger army, I'd love to see him with a real big, huge army behind him. And I think the idea of the Doctor's alter ego really presenting the Doctor a problem is such an interesting one, because actually, I mean, I was talking to someone about it earlier, and if you look at the blood on the Doctor's hands, you know, over the ages, there is so much. He's got so much guilt and death, actually, that he must have to manage every day. So, I think it's a really interesting concept. I'd love to see him back. Yeah.
Can I ask just a more mechanical question? Last night, weren't you guys at the Nerdist podcast? So Will Wheaton was there, and Will was talking about driving the Enterprise, and he was talking about the buttons and how he sort of knew how the Enterprise worked, and he asked you if you felt the same way, if you had the same thing about the TARDIS control board, and I don't. Yeah. I want to know more. Like, do you know what all the switches do?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you believe when I turned up on my first day, they gave me a manual. I swear to God, they gave me a manual.
Sell the manual.
Yeah. I mean, like you've seen it, right? And so I've taught Karen how to fly. We spend hours just fiddling around. But if you look at the if you look at the takes and stuff, I'm taking off and landing, it's always the same thing. I do the gear there, I clink back the big lever with the lights, and then zip the handbrake. And then there's a lab, and there's a navigation system where he types in where he's going to go and stuff. So, yeah, the TARDIS just never gets boring, ever.
Awesome. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello. I'm a big Doctor Who fan.
Yeah.
Of course. And my question is for Matt and Karen. My question for you guys is, what is your favorite alien race?
Kaz.
Favorite alien race? I really like the Sisters of Plenitude. You know, the cats. Oh. The nurse cats. I think they're actually quite nice.
Yeah. I'm into the Sisters of Plenitude, absolutely.
Yeah.
I like the Angels are my favourite, the Weeping Angels. I'd say them.
Yeah.
In the same vein, can I ask, just to go down the line, if you take Matt out of the equation, who your favorite Doctors have been?
Well, that's a pretty tough question. Well, I think beside Matt, Tom Baker for me, because he was my first Doctor.
I really struggled to take Matt out of the line, but I would second
I'm just trying to be fair.
Tom Baker, yeah.
I'd say, genuinely would say Matt, and then after that, I guess either Tom Baker or David Tennant.
I like Chris Eccleston.
I like Troughton and Baker. I mean, it's so hard, isn't it? Because, you know, what's so wonderful about this show is that everyone has their Doctor. And so hopefully in like 20 years' time, there'll be 5-year-olds going, and they'll be 25 going, yeah, Matt Smith was my Doctor, and Amy Pond
That's nice.
was the companion and stuff. Oh, thank you so much. That's very sweet. That's the beauty of the show, I think.
No love for Sylvester McCoy, but okay. I like Sylvester McCoy.
First of all, thank you all for the last 2 years. It has been amazing storytelling. My question is, given that you're coming up on the 50th anniversary, and particularly, I mean, you're at the home of genre and the tribe of geek, do you ever consider the fact that you are contributing to modern myth-making?
Piers, Beth?
No, we don't, because if we did, we'd be a bunch of arses, really, wouldn't we? But we do take Doctor Who incredibly seriously, and it is all of our lives, and we just want to make it brilliant because of the love, our own love of it, but also the love of all of you lot, because, I mean, who wouldn't want to when it's appreciated this much? So thank you very much for getting us to work every day.
I have to say that writing good television is incredibly exhausting and hard and time-consuming and disappointing, but it's something that we love, and I think I speak for all. We genuinely love this show, and so it's and our passion and love and enthusiasm for the show. It's very difficult because sometimes you feel as if you're slightly in a vacuum. And so coming to events like this and realising that the audience feel just as enthusiastic and passionate about it as we do is wonderful. And it's wonderful to kind of get all of that energy that we put out, to suddenly get that back is fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's why we come to events like this, because it's just lovely to get, to feel that enthusiasm, and it just reminds us as why we're doing it.
Thank you.
This question is for anyone that can answer it up there. I was wondering if the Doctor can or will regenerate into a woman.
That's awesome.
I'm going to throw that to the boss. So, boss.
We don't know who the boss is. Make a decision.
It's you.
Suddenly everyone runs for responsibility.
I think that's possible, but I think it's always led by the actor or actress that is right at the time. And I think every time the Doctor regenerates, of course, having a woman will always cross whoever's making the show their minds. But
could
it's
be
based on the right actor.
I also think that a lot of what River does. I mean, could there ever be a female time traveller to match her in terms of kind of kick-ass, alien fighting brilliance? And a little bit of me thinks that maybe she's stolen the thunder of a female Doctor.
Perhaps.
It's good thunder.
Good thunder.
Hi.
Hi.
First of all, I love all of you. You're amazing. My question is for Matt. I've seen you at a couple of panels this weekend, and I was wondering, after watching you being interviewed, I was wondering how much of yourself you put in the character of the Doctor, and how much of the Doctor maybe kind of rubs off on you.
Good question. Well, God,
I think we should answer that, actually. I think we're better placed to answer that one. I mean, Matt is the Doctor. What you see on screen is pretty bloody close to how he is on real life, apart from he's maybe a bit less competent in real life. Even clumsier.
I'm not as cool as the Doctor. I'm nowhere near.
Stephen, one of Stephen's favourite things to say, kind of after his kind of fourth glass of wine of the night, is he just is the Doctor. He just is.
Yeah.
The way that Stephen has, the way the character has evolved over the last two series, Stephen writes for Matt. Stephen visualises Matt and can imagine Matt saying it, and he knows what Matt will make funny. So the two kind of come together very organically.
Yeah. It's just I wish I was as cool as him. He's
never gonna happen, man.
Never gonna happen. It's just it's like Amy Pond's way cooler than Karen. It's true. It's true.
No, it's definitely true.
Yeah. And it's what's wonderful is kind of getting to spend time, because as an actor, that's what you do. You spend time with the character in it in quite a sort of interesting way, and to do it with a man like him, he's such a benchmark for everything, for how to live your life. He's such a maverick, and he always makes choices independently for himself. And
I think Matt's a modest guy, but he's the first Doctor to be nominated for a BAFTA for the role, which I think just goes goes as a kind of testimony to what a brilliant job he did of coming in and redefining a role which had been so brilliantly defined by his predecessor. And you know, it was such a huge burden for him and for all of us, you know, when he came into the role in the 11th hour. But I'll never forget the night after that episode, sorry, the morning after that episode had transmitted and reading in the papers how well received he'd been, and just feeling so proud of him. He is a brilliant, brilliant guy, and we're all so lucky to work with him.
Can you talk a little bit about what the selection and audition process was like? What was it like? Now, you evolved into it, and Stephen's work has evolved writing for you with the other writers as well, but how did you, when you first got there, what was it like?
Well, it's kind of, everything's top secret, so you get the script 2 days before. Well, no, a day before actually, so you only get a day to sort of look at it and learn it, and you go in and you do your thing. And weirdly, when David was leaving, my mum texted me saying, "You should be the next Doctor," and I was like, "Well, all right, Mum."
My mom sent me that text too.
And then you go in and you do your thing, and you kind of think nothing of it, and then there's another one, and you go back and there's a couple more people there. And then I'll never forget when I got the call and you know, they said they'd like to offer you the part, and I was in Aldgate. I'd just come out of an audition and I was on a cobbled street, and it's a real game changer. It's a real life-changing thing to sort of take on, because it's Doctor Who, you know, and yeah, it was remarkable.
It was the easiest casting decision that any of us had ever been involved in, because it was just so bloody obvious from the moment that he walked into the room. It wasn't, you know, quite often when you're casting a big, important part, it can become very heated, and everyone can have their own agendas and their own kind of opinions, and you know, some people are like one actor, some people are like another, but it was just really simple. It was, so I remember Saturday afternoon, I think the day after we'd met Matt for the second time, and Stephen just sent me an email that just said, "It's him, let's face it, it's always been him."
Just to add to that, the same is true of Karen.
Yeah.
We watched these auditions on a tape, and then, you know, a number of really amazing actresses came in. I'm quite smug about this, because early in the day, Piers came up to me and went, "Oh God, we've seen all these brilliant people, but I just don't think we found her. You know, what are we going to do?" And I said, "Don't worry. Her name's Karen Gillan. She's coming in at the end of the day. I'm absolutely convinced it's her." And she walked in this red coat, and she looked amazing, and she was so funny, and she was so good at it. And she walked out of the room, and Steve Moffat just jumped up in the air and went, "We found her." And it was a really special moment for all of us.
Yeah.